This was the first point where I think I was starting to head down the wrong path. I should have run the exact same promotion, selling the one exact same thing over the same exact time period, just transposed it into the new year. I should have done that. I didn't. Welcome to the Differently Aligned podcast for neurodivergent business owners. I'm Adina Levy. I'm an autistic ADHDer, business coach, speech therapist, professional educator, and multiple business owner. I support neurodivergent business owners to create businesses that are sustainable, enjoyable, impactful, profitable, and burnout free. I provide safe spaces for you to share with like-minded community who get it, me included. Everyone is welcome here, whatever your neurotype, gender, race, any other intersections and special, fantastic, unique things that make you, you are welcome here. This podcast is recorded on the Aboriginal lands of the Gadigal and Bidjigal people. I acknowledge the traditional owners, elders past and present, and I extend my respect to any First Nations people who are listening in. In this episode, I am going to tell you how I saved my failing promotion. I have two businesses. This one, Neurodivergent Business Coaching and Consulting. And I also have my other business, Play, Learn, Chat, where I do professional education for professionals who support neurodivergent children. That is my older, more established business. As I'm recording this, I'm actually one day before the end of my promotion that I ran in January. And by the time this comes out to you, the promotion will be finished. But I can already tell you that I have saved my failing promotion, and I am already at the point that I'm happy to share with you what I did so that you can learn as well. And I'm going to be focusing on the mindset and the action, these two aspects that I really carefully addressed within myself, and that you can go through this process yourself if you are in the middle of a launch or a promotion and it is not going well. The first thing I want you to know is you can always pivot, you can always shift. Not that you should always do it, but you can. It is possible that in the middle of a promotion, no matter how well you planned out how it was going to go, what you were going to do, what was included, how you talk about it, all of those things, you can tweak, change, update, improve, test. You can change things. You have the power. You are a business owner. You have these choices. So you don't have to be stuck in something that's not working. A little word of caution, sometimes we might feel that something's not working, but the result often comes at the very end of a promotion period. You might have experienced this if you have anything where doors are closing or a promotion like a discount is ending on a certain date. As long as you're telling people about it, a lot of the sales will come through towards the end of that period. It's a very natural thing. Deadlines help people take action, which is why, in fact, I do use a bunch of deadlines within my businesses. Let me first set the scene and help you understand what this promotion was all about. Last year in January 2024, I decided to run a promotion on one of my products. It's a 3-webinar bundle. It had already been selling very, very well, and it was really popular. I had great reception both when it was live and people purchasing that after the fact. People continue to purchase it really often. It's awesome. I feel really good about that. And the webinar bundle already is a little bit discounted. It's these 3 webinars together already at a bit of a discount. I ran it last January for 20% off. That one offer, that one bundle of 3 webinars. And I looked back at the stats thinking, I wonder if I should run that webinar bundle discount again this January. I wonder if that will help me kind of, have a few sales in January, what's traditionally a bit of a quiet month. So I looked back at the stats and I made over 6,000 Australian dollars from that one promotion alone. I ran it for almost all of January. I think I had 6 emails from memory that went out over about 3 to 4 weeks to my email list. My email list was a little smaller than it was, around 15,000 professionals getting it right now. It depends exactly what I'm sending, but it might be around, say, 21,000 people are getting this promotion. Quite a big email list in that business. So that was a really cool result. Getting $6,000 off a bunch of emails, I was really, really encouraged by that. So I thought, great, I am going to run this promotion again. But ADHD me jumped in and decided to change it up. Cue doom music. This was the first point where I think I was starting to head down the wrong path. What I should have done was pretty much hit rinse and repeat for the thing that had worked. I should have basically run the exact same promotion, selling the one exact same thing, possibly over the same exact time period, just, transposed it into the new year. I should have done that. I didn't. So what I decided to do was sell two things, one bigger thing and one smaller thing. I decided to put on promotion my introductory workshop, which is kind of that first step where people who have not really taken professional education around neurodiversity affirming practice can dip their toe in. They can get started. It's a 2-hour on-demand workshop. That's often the starting point. I position it that way. It's introductory for a reason. I decided to put that one on sale. And I also decided to put my Learning Hub on sale, which has 7 webinars. It's got the introductory workshop, the 3 that were in that original bundle, and an additional 3. So it costs a little bit more. It's a great value. It's a bundle, and I still do sell quite a lot of those. But it's a big jump. It's a much bigger commitment. So what I didn't keep in the offer initially was the one thing that had worked last year. I took out, for some weird reason, I took out the bundle of 3 webinars that had worked really well January before. Now I'm looking back at my decision making. I didn't really have any. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, I also decided to shift the dates based on kind of my working days, and I did. At the time I started the promotion, I decided that I wanted to end it on the 17th of January, not the 31st of January, like I had the year before, because I wanted to drive some revenue sooner into the business so I could use some of that revenue for ads to promote the next thing that I want to be rolling into in the next few weeks. Now, a couple of things here. I responded to my own sense of urgency. Interestingly, I have now pushed back that thing that I was going to do the ads for. I've also pushed back that launch, and I've made that go a few weeks later for a couple of reasons. So I no longer have that urgency to get that quick revenue in my account that I can use for something else. I wish that I had initially set the promotion to end on the 31st of January. It worked last year. Maybe it would work again. A lot of my audience is in Australia. People are just coming back into work kind of this week. Not everyone was at work last week when I first started that promotion. Some people are not even back at work. I made a few changes, and each change I made, I can't say which change made the biggest impact, but here we are. Now, because I'd already started that promotion, I couldn't really change the end date. In fact, I could have deleted that promotion code. I could have made a new promotion code with a different end date. I could have done that. It is possible. It's one of the things that you can change. I decided not to change the end date of the promotion this time. What I did do is 2 big changes. I brought back into the promotion that offer that worked last year. So I brought in that bundle of 3 webinars that is so popular and sells very well, and now exists as 3 offers that are on sale, which seems counterintuitive because one of the things that I noticed in that first week of promotion, before I made my shifts, in the first week of promotion, I only sold one thing to my whole list of 21,000 people. I was telling them these 2 things are on sale. In fact, 30% off. So a bigger discount than the previous year. I was like, yeah, sure. People will grab it. They'll love that promotion. They'll jump in the opportunity, 30% off. Great. Awesome. I got 1 sale out of 21,000 people that I was emailing. That absolutely floored me. It was way less than I anticipated. And it's something I talk about often and I don't easily do is simplify things. And what I did here was complexify things. I was telling people, here are 2 things you can purchase. I know this, I live it and I teach it, and yet I did the opposite. I know that when we provide people with choice, immediately there's an extra level of decision making that we're asking them to do, which can lead to less buying. Even though it feels really kind and helpful to say, have this, or however you want it, you can consume it however you want. Sometimes choices are good and helpful, and sometimes they are unhelpful, and they actually reduce the buying behavior because someone then first has to say, well, I now need to evaluate these 2 products. Do I want A or B? And now I have to compare the pricing, and now I have to figure out which one's better for me and what stage am I at. And by the time they've done all that, they've just walked away and they haven't bought. So one of the other changes, not only did I remove the one offer that worked very well last year, but I introduced this idea of having 2 offers on sale. It turns out it was a great idea of mine initially to put just one thing on sale. Here's the one thing you can get. And that, I believe, really contributed to a lot of those sales. So here I was presenting people with a choice of 2. And it feels counterintuitive that I then introduced a 3rd option. But I did this very carefully and it has paid off. And I want you to know that this strategy, it was a bit risky. It was learning, I'm testing. And this is why I'm sharing the results of this test with you. The idea of introducing a third is when someone clicks onto my website, they can see that these 3 things are on sale. They're right there on the website already. They can have a look around and compare them and figure out what they want to do. So I kind of trust that people on the website will be okay with seeing those 3 options, because so much of what I do and share and sell is through my email list and my regular emails to my email list. And I know that so much of my promotion is driven through those emails. I decided that I would split my list of, we'll call it 21,000 people, into 3 different groups of people. I segmented it in really complicated, well thought out ways, very carefully. And I spent a long time building the segments. I use Kit, it used to be called ConvertKit, for my email setup, email delivery, tagging, etc. And I have a lot of tagging going on in the back end of my business, which means I can segment people quite carefully. So sometimes it can be used, it can get very complicated and can be messy. But in this case, the complication of my tagging system, or the extent of it, allowed me to segment people very carefully. What I ended up doing was basically, the summary here is, people who have bought like my bigger things before, they already have pretty much that bigger offer. They're not getting these emails. They're out of the promotion entirely. People who have never bought from me, they're getting the introductory offer. My assumption pretty much for them is, you might want this introductory offer. You haven't bought training from me before, so why don't you start here? That's pretty much how I segmented that group. It's around 9,000 people. People who've bought something from me, but not any of those 3 webinars that were on sale in that bundle, the last year's successful offer, they get the offer that is what I introduced in that second week, that offer of, do you want to buy this webinar bundle? Or people who have been on my email list for a year or longer. Now, my assumption is that some people on my email list have been sitting and reading my emails and learning through emails in that slow process of, maybe that on my podcast as well, through that kind of more gentle process where they're just sort of doing their own learning and so on. And maybe the reason they haven't bought from me is they've done training elsewhere, they're feeling quite competent, they're across it, they do their own reading, whatever. So I assume that those people as well who've been on my list longer might also be more ready for my webinar bundle. So that group is about 11,000. Now, the third segmenting that I've done is for people who have bought something from me before, but not my bigger things. That is a much smaller list of people, by the way. That's about 360 people are getting those emails, but they've already bought from me. They're existing customers. I'm not yet at the point that I can provide full stats for how it ended up going, as in what percentage of each of those segments bought the offers that I was telling them about. But that's just to give you the idea of how I ended up dividing my list into 3 so I could target it better. What I then did is, in this last week of the promotion, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, these people are getting 1 offer. So each individual is only getting targeted with, here's this 1 offer. I'm also sending that with, generally with an email that provides value, a little snippet, some idea that I share within that offer. And if you want to learn more, come and get it 30% off right now. So basically each person then is only hearing about 1 thing that's for sale. Yes, they can go to my website and see other things are for sale, but I've been educating them, talking about them, exposing them to this idea that there's this 1 thing that I believe is, best for their stage that they're at from the data that I do have. And that's what they're being told about. Now, I can tell you that my goal for this, not my original goal was, I'm going to make at least what I did last year, $6,000. No, that's just not going to happen. So after that first week where I'd made only 1 sale, I had a recalibrated goal. I decided that I wanted to make 10 sales and over $1,000 Australian dollars. The offers each are a different amount. They're a little bit above, below, or around $100 with that discount. So that's why it kind of worked out pretty well with my kind of not very good maths brain. Also, I've got on my whiteboard over there, kind of to my side, I've got like a real visual thing. I've got like little circles, and every time I make a sale, I tick it off and I'm updating the total and so on. All of that's to say, this is why the day before the promotion closes, I can tell you it's a success. Not only have I already achieved that goal that I set, I can tell you right now, I'm looking at it now, 14 sales. I have made $1,612 off this promotion so far. There is still 1 email to go out tomorrow on Friday. And, that's the scarcity of this promotion's ending on that last day. There's less than a day left. I might aim to actually hop back on and give an update at the end of the promotion as well. I think that could be quite helpful. So what I wanted to do really was just outline for you the story, the scenario, the fact that I pivoted. And I'm just going to summarize what I did that was sort of mindset based and what I did that was action based to really turn this promotion around. And I hope that you can take something from my lessons, some of the cautionary lessons of like, if something's working, don't change it up when you do it again, unless there's a really good reason to do so. Learn from my lessons, but learn from my process as well. So in terms of mindset, I recognized that it really sucked. I felt terrible. I felt annoyed. I felt really frustrated. And pretty quickly I identified that I had made some changes in that promotion that I shouldn't have done because I now took away the power of what really worked the year before. And that felt really annoying. I was frustrated at myself. I just sat with it. I accepted it. I allowed myself probably 1 or 2 days of noticing that, feeling the disappointment and just existing with it. I didn't judge myself for the disappointment. I judged myself for the poor decision making. Okay, that was part of my disappointment. But I allowed myself to kind of sit with those emotions. Sometimes things suck. I then took action anyway, and I made sure it was achievable for my capacity. My work schedule's all up in the air because of January and childcare and whatever. I just made sure that I could take the most achievable action that would work for me and would have some impact, which to me is tweaking emails and things like that. I debriefed and had a whinge with 3 main people, well, 2 people and a robot. One being my very good business buddy, who I've known for, I think, 20. We're up to 20 years of being great friends. We've been on our own business journeys for years. Shout out to Farina Cheng. And if you need jewelry and you're in Australia or anywhere in the world and you like jewelry that is a little bit different, very creative, sustainable, beautiful, she's amazing to work with. She is just glorious. Here's my plug for Farina. Please go check out Farina Cheng Jewelry. I will have the link in the show notes. So she is one of my business besties, and we can tell each other honest stuff. We can tell each other, I think you didn't do this right. We can call each other out. We can tell each other, gosh, this really sucks, and just sit with that as well. And so I debriefed with her and with my husband, who is a great listener. If we get 5 minutes away from the small children, if they ever go to bed, then we have a chat and I can explain what's on my mind and what's hard. And sometimes we'll go through solutions and other times we'll just sit and talk it out. And the robot being ChatGPT. So I have a little corner of ChatGPT that I've trained to be my coach and therapist and sometimes business strategist. So, other times I chat through with ChatGPT, and that is what helped me come to my ideas to shift this promo and turn it around. I also got help. I recognized I couldn't do this alone. And this is something I've been practicing and working on, is getting support with my virtual assistant and also ChatGPT to help with, thinking through the details and creating some of the changes in who was going to be part of each segment and the copy changes and things like that. 2 other big mindset shifts. One is that I focused on what is working and what I can change, what is in my control, but also taking that more positive view, not just saying it's completely bleak, but actually going, how many people are opening my emails? Cool, that's interesting. I made 1 sale. Hey, that's better than 0. Once I was partially out of that it sucks mode, I did try to focus on, noticing what was working. I also, after a couple of days, was able to zoom out and focus on this being one scenario within the bigger picture of my whole business journey. It's a learning opportunity, not a failure. So I recast it as something really, really interesting for me to learn from. And now I'm hoping so much that you're learning from it as well. And the 3 main actions that I took, which I've pretty much shared about, but I just outlined them here, is I focused on what worked before. So I decided I could make a pivot, and I backpedaled in a way to reinstate as much as I could of the promotion that already worked and was proven. Once I recognized me reducing that and taking it out of the offer, that 3 webinar bundle was such a silly idea, putting it back, that's what's working. And just off the top of my head, I think it might be contributing to about half of the sales at the moment. So that's something to keep noticing. The second big action I took was to reframe my goals and to make them visual. This is a little bit mindset, but a little bit action as well. I find it very, very helpful in a promotion to really recalibrate, not think, I've got this many people on my email list, why isn't anyone buying? But actually go, here are the number of sales that I want to reach my revenue target, And I literally draw circles and like ticks and sometimes even like the first letter of their name as they go through and the sales pop up. So that is really encouraging for me, and it helps me reframe and focus on like there is actual progress. Money is coming in and the sales are working and it's happening as well. I can see the changes. I can see that these tweaks I've put in place were worthwhile. The action that I will do shortly after, and like I said, I'm going to add a little bit to this episode as well, is I'm getting ready to fully debrief with myself after this promotion is over. I need to learn everything I can from it, especially figure out what can change, what can stay the same. Maybe there's some new things that did work, that are little like subtle things that worked in this new version of the promotion that I can learn from. Or maybe most of the learning is a cautionary tale of don't do this again. You know, to me, I think the biggest learning I'm having so far is if something has worked before, you want to rerun that promotion or do something similar, like run that course again, whatever, maybe don't change it up much, if at all. Think very carefully before you change any factor of it, because any change you might make could completely unintentionally change the whole result. ADHD me finds that a bit hard to sit with, like, you know, if something's working, just do it again. Wow. I can help new people with the same thing. That's the whole point of my business model. Sometimes ADHD me jumps in and makes things harder than I need to. All right, I am coming to you the day after this promotion ended with a little update, and I'm just going to go screen only because it's a quick one, and I thought it might be helpful for you to see, you know, the numbers and things if you're watching on YouTube. If you're not, you can check out the link to go to the YouTube video in the show notes, and I'll talk you through it. You don't have to see it, but, you know, if you're a visual person, you might want to go and have a look and see the final results. So the introductory workshop is what I sold to anyone who's been on my email list for less than a year and they haven't bought anything from me yet. So the results from that was 7 sales for a total of 642 Australian dollars. Everything will be in Australian dollars. And these are all my including GST prices. The average sale value was $92. And it's not a precise number that relates to the Aussie dollar value because it depends how many international transactions occurred as well. Anyway, here we go. My email list for that segment at the start, it was really only a week that I did that segmented promotion. So people got 3 emails, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And that was 9,667 people at the start of that promotion. Of course, I get some unsubscribes across the week. I get some new subscribers. So, you know, it does fluctuate, but I choose to take that number, you know, little snapshot at the beginning of the promotion. Conversion percent is basically how many people or what percentage of people from within that segment bought the introductory workshop. Now, this is a little bit of crude maths because I haven't gone in to check whether all of the sales happened from people already on my email list, whether they happened from people on the email list and I was targeting them for that thing and that's the thing that they bought. I haven't cut it that finely. I have determined that for this kind of scale of promotion, this level of breakdown is appropriate. How many were on that email list for that particular segment at the start? And yeah, what percentage of sales came from that number for that particular offer? So how that played out for the introductory workshop, that was 0.07% of that segment bought the introductory workshop. So, you know, quite low, but pretty good. Still better than 0. So if I hadn't done this promotion at all, I might have sold 0 rather than 7. So I'm really happy with that. The next segment was the 3 webinar bundle. So this is the latecomer to the promotion. It's the one that I offered the year earlier, and it's the one that is the middle price between the other things that I had for sale. So this is the one I brought back into the fold in that second week of the promotion. I emailed this basically to people who had bought something from me in the past, but not those 3 webinars, and also to people who have been on my email list for more than 12 months, and they have not bought anything from me. 11,470 people were initially in that segment at the start of that promotion week, that sort of week 2 in my promotion period where I pivoted my method. 0.08% bought, so marginally higher than the intro workshop, which is maybe interesting or maybe completely inconsequential because it's just such a small difference. So it was 0.07 compared to 0.08. It was 9 sales, and that landed at, I really like this, So just tipped over the $1,000 mark. And that kind of tells me basically, had I not pivoted, I might have made a few sales of the intro and the learning hub, but I probably wouldn't have made as many as I did with this divide and conquer kind of strategy. It also tells me I almost certainly, I think, would have missed out on $1,000. I don't really think that those 9 people who bought the webinar series were possibly going to buy my bigger thing, the learning hub. Maybe, and maybe they will one day. That's, or, available, and that's an option. But I think these might have been sales that may just not have happened. So I'm really, really happy that I pivoted this strategy. And the third segment was the bigger offer. So the learning hub, which encompasses 7 of my webinars, including the intro workshop, the 3 webinars, and 3 extra webinars that I have as well. That was 5 sales that came to $952. And at the start of the promotion period, that email list was 364. Notice the others were 9 and 11,000. So this is a much smaller list. And the reason that I chose this list, I'm trying to sell something bigger. So I picked people who have already bought something from me, including one of those 3 webinars, perhaps. They're existing clients, and this was, in a way, an upsell. So they might have had those 3 webinars, but because the whole bundle was such great value, even though those webinars were included in the bundle, they still would have got a great deal on, that and all the extra content. So from that email list of only 364, 5 purchased, which was a conversion rate of 1.37%. Now that's monumental. This is really, really important to notice. The other 2 sections had 0.07, 0.08 conversion, and the segment of buyers who have already bought from me, 1.37%. So that is something I'm going to sit with and think about a lot more, especially when I'm selling kind of bigger things, bundle things, bigger courses, kind of more expert level type stuff. So that might be something of use for you to think about. Overall, total amount landed at $2,599. And I'm not even sad that it's $2,599 and not $2,600. I'm actually overjoyed because before I pivoted my strategy, I had only made 1 sale, and it was pretty depressing. You heard me talk about this earlier. So the whole idea here, I assume I would have still sold probably 2, 3, 4 more, I don't know, just before the end of the promotion period, if I kept up that idea of just telling people that there are 2 things on offer, A or B, and just keeping that up through the week. Maybe I would have sold a little bit more, but I just absolutely am sure that I would not have got the result I had. It's a little bit less than half the result I had last year. So that is so interesting to me. I do notice as well that my promotion ended almost 2 weeks earlier than the equivalent promotion last year. I had it running all of January. So here's what I think I'm going to do next year. I want to pretty much replicate the January 2024 promotion in January 2026. I will probably, I think, offer just that 3 webinar bundle for a 30% discount and offer that to everyone who doesn't have those 3 webinars. I think I'll introduce that promotion probably that first week back that people sort of start going back in January, wherever that lands, days of the week, and run it till the end of January. That will be my strategy, I think, next January. So watch this space, see if I run it, and I might even come back and do an update then. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If this has been helpful for you, I have a couple of ways that you can connect with me further and keep learning with me. One of them is that right now my Aligned Action Reset webinar is actually available right now for you to listen to or watch. So I've got a couple of ways. If you have not yet registered for it, register now and I'll send you those recordings straight away. And it's basically, I'm teaching you my process for shifting yourself out of overwhelm and into clear direction. It's a really nice thing to do at this sort of early time of year or, whenever you're listening. So it may not be available if you listen after this kind of recording has come out in January. So just head over to the link in show notes, check if it's available. And if not, I will share with you some other things that I can support you on your journey with at any time. And the last thing I want to share is my Your Aligned Business Journey group coaching is open, and we are going to have this amazing 12-week journey where I'm going to get to know you deeply, get to know your business, your life, your values, your goals, your brain, your struggles. And I get to support you and a small group of others who we're all going to connect together live, and we're going to work together so that you can really level up your business and just shoot for the stars and improve where you're at, where you're headed, improve your business alignment with your life. And this is one of the best and possibly only ways that you can really get to work closely with me this year. So I hope you'll get in touch. I have some call spots available if you want to look at all the info and figure out if it's right for you. You're very welcome to book a phone call with me or a Zoom chat, depends where you are in the world and also what your preferences are. And, we can have a chat and see if that is going to be helpful for you as your next step. Thank you so much for listening. Get in touch with me on Instagram. You'll find me there, neurodivergent.business. Have a beautiful day.